Imagine sitting in class when the intercom crackles to life and the voice on the other end is trembling. This is not a drill. Suddenly, the lights go out. Your teacher pushes everyone to the corner, and outside the door, footsteps echo closer and closer. In that moment, you realize the silence can be louder than any scream. Tonight, I'll share 3 true stories of terrifying school lockdowns told by the students who lived them and survived. Daniel was a senior in high school, sitting in a Friday afternoon calculus class, already counting down the minutes to spring break. His teacher, known for being relaxed, had pulled up a trivia game on the projector. The atmosphere was light, playful, until the intercom clicked on. The dean's voice came through, sharp and panicked. "This is not a drill. Teachers, lock your doors. Go into lockdown immediately." The room fell into chaos. Daniel's normally calm teacher suddenly looked pale, rushing to turn off the lights, and hurried the students into the corner of the room. The buzzing hum of the fluorescent lights vanished. The power had been cut. The silence pressed on them like a weight. Then it began. Screaming echoed down the hallway, raw, unhinged screaming. Someone was running through the school, slamming against lockers and yelling, "I'll kill all of you!" 2 girls began sobbing uncontrollably, their fear making everyone else's terror worse. The man's voice grew closer until fists pounded violently against their classroom door. Daniel swore he felt the hinges rattle with each slam. One of the girls let out a scream, and for a terrifying moment the pounding intensified as the man shouted, "Open up! Open up!" Minutes felt like hours. Eventually, the banging stopped, and the footsteps moved away, fading into the distance. Later, the dean's voice returned. A mentally unstable intruder had slipped inside the school, attacking a secretary before storming the halls. They didn't know if he was armed. That night, a janitor found a man hiding in a storage closet at the far end of the school. Rumors spread quickly. Sticking out of his pocket was the handle of a .44 Magnum. But when police arrived, the man had already vanished. Daniel never forgot the sound of that voice at the door. To this day, he doesn't know if the intruder was ever caught. Emily was in 7th grade, sitting with her friends during lunch when the first noise came. 4 loud bangs in the distance. At first, everyone thought it was thunder, but campus security rushed in, yelling for everyone to get inside. Students screamed, trays of food hit the ground, and Emily was shoved into the multi-purpose room along with hundreds of others. Teachers hurried to pull the curtains over the massive glass wall that made up the back of the room. The exits were locked. The students sat shoulder to shoulder in silence, every eye darting toward the windows. Emily's friend Eric whispered what he had overheard. There was a man outside the school threatening suicide, and worse, threatening to kill police if they came near. He had been watching children through the fence earlier that morning, his stare unsettling and wrong. Time dragged on. An hour passed in that suffocating silence. Some kids cried quietly, others sat frozen. Emily couldn't stop thinking about the fact that the man lived in one of the houses just across from the school. Later, she learned more. The man was a registered sex offender. He lived next door to her friend Brandy, who recalled a chilling memory from Halloween the year before. She had seen the man at his window, cutting his arm and writing on the glass in his own blood, "Don't come here, or I'll kill you." At the time, everyone assumed it was a Halloween decoration. But now Emily knew the truth. This wasn't a man looking for attention. This was someone spiraling out of control right next to their school. The lockdown ended after police contained him, but the unease never left. Emily admitted later that for weeks she couldn't walk to school without scanning the windows of every house, terrified she'd see someone watching her. Jason had just graduated college and returned to his old high school as a computer intern. He worked in the school basement, where the servers were stored, tucked away in a small office with no real door, just an open entryway. One afternoon, Jason was eating lunch at his desk when he got the call. The school was in lockdown. Someone possibly armed had entered the building. Alone in the basement, Jason turned off the lights and sat quietly in the dark, his phone clutched in his hand. For 20 minutes he waited in silence, every creak of the old building making his skin crawl. Then, the basement door opened with a long groan. Footsteps echoed on the concrete stairs. Someone was coming down. Jason ducked under his desk, holding his breath. He prayed it was one of his co-workers, until a figure stepped into the office. The man didn't turn on the lights. He just stood there in the dark. Then Jason's phone buzzed loudly, a text lighting up the screen. The sound made the figure turn. Footsteps approached. Jason panicked, scrambling from under the desk. The man grabbed his arm. "It's okay," the stranger whispered. "I'm just hiding here too. Do you know if there's an exit?" The man was wearing a red plaid shirt, a cap pulled low. Jason stammered an answer, too terrified to think. But then he glanced at his phone. It was a text from his coworker upstairs. "Dude, this is insane." Some guy with a gun shot. "Mr. Buckley, he's wearing a red shirt and hat. Stay downstairs. Don't move." Jason's blood ran cold. He looked up at the man's face. The stranger's expression shifted. He realized Jason knew. Without thinking, Jason bolted. A deafening gunshot rang out, the bullet ricocheting off metal as Jason sprinted up the stairs. He burst into the hallway where police had already surrounded the exits. Seconds later, they caught the man trying to escape through the basement door. Mr. Buckley, the teacher who had been shot, survived. The gunman had a personal vendetta against him, though no one ever learned exactly why. Jason never forgot the sound of that gunshot, the way the darkness of the basement seemed to swallow him whole. To this day, whenever he hears footsteps behind him, he still feels the urge to run. Lockdowns are meant to protect us, but for the people in these stories, they became a fight against something far more terrifying than silence. Daniel, Emily, and Jason will never forget those moments, and neither will you. If you want to hear more real stories like these, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and join me again for nights where the quiet is never safe.